Good morning. Woo! Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist congregation at Shelter Rock. My name is David Carl Olson. I serve here in the care of our lead minister, Reverend Dr. Natalie Fenimore, and I'm so pleased to share with you the arrival of my colleague, our new associate minister, Reverend Megan Henry. And for both of us to serve today with our student minister, Brian Bauer. We are a leaderful people, with leadership provided by ministers and many congregational leaders and even our staff, and we are a lay-governed congregation with elected officers and trustees who help steward our mission in the world. It gives me great pleasure to invite to the pulpit Trustee Dana Gum. Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. Whether you're a visitor, a newcomer, or a longtime member of this congregation, you're welcome here. Wherever you are in your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. In this community, we use science, reason, and an open heart to explore life's many mysteries. To learn more about this congregation and Unitarian Universalism, please visit our welcome desk in the lobby or go to our website, UUCSR.org. After this morning's service, we'll share lunch in our Sunday cafe in the social hall. If you are a first or second-time visitor, lunch is on us. If you'd like to find out more about becoming a member of our congregation, you're invited to have lunch today and next week in the Beach House Ballroom with Dr. Fenimore and the membership committee. And everyone is invited to an artist reception in the art gallery today at 1 o'clock.
We are entering a special time of generosity during the holiday season with simultaneous appeals for your diverse contributions. The mitten tree, you may have noticed, is up in the main lobby with suggestions of gifts to be given to children who are part of the work of the AIDS Committee of Queens County, ACQC. Please take one of the notices and then present back your gift before or at the very latest on November 30th. How's that? They're going to be picked up on December 1st. The Social Justice Committee is collecting contributions for Thanksgiving turkeys. I think you may have seen the table out in the lobby. And we will begin collecting winter coats to be distributed by the Manhasset Great Neck Economic Opportunity Council. Please see Sonia and other social justice leaders in the main lobby.
On Friday evening, join us for Soulful Sundown. We share a simple supper at 6:30, a service of Vespers led by Reverend Olson and the Cosmic Orchestra at 7:30, and then welcome a concert by Jonah Smith, a critically acclaimed singer-songwriter who pulls from the deep well of American blues and many of its offshoots, including soul, country, and folk. Wow, sounds good. At Shelter Rock, we aspire to be a loving religious community where you can grow spiritually and build a more just and joyful world. You are welcome to join us on that journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Dana. This month we are centering our thoughts on nurturing gratitude, and today I'd like to center our gratitude for the worship practice that has formed our tradition even as we are in a constant state of reforming the tradition and being reformed by it. Our words this morning are largely taken from the gray and silver hymnal, which is in your pew rack. I'll ask you to pick one up at a certain point. But may I welcome for our opening words and our chalice lighting Reverend Henry and Mr. Bauer to the pulpit and the chalice. The prayer.
We come to this time and this place to rediscover the wondrous gift of free religious community, to renew our faith in the holiness, goodness, and beauty of life, to reaffirm the way of the open mind and full heart, to rekindle the flame of memory and hope, and to reclaim the vision of an earth made fair, with all her people one.
We gather this hour as people of faith with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning in celebration of the life we share together.
Thank you. Our opening hymn is one drawn from the primary tradition out of which our living tradition emerged, that of the left wing of the Protestant Reformation. Let's sing an old hymn whose tune is based on the Genevan collection of Hebrew Psalms. Will you rise in body and spirit with me, and we'll sing what's number 120 in the gray, Turn Back, Turn Back. The lyrics will also be posted on the screens. Take a deep breath. Let it out. A lot of big energy in this room. Take a big breath. That's right. We move in solidarity with one another, and we reach out side to side for those to join us in the struggle. Big breath from earth to sky. You may have heard a little of that reflected in the hymn. And we prepare by opening ourselves, by filling ourselves with air and spirit and breath, to be able to make a promise to one another The promise we're making today is slightly different than the one that we make every week. I think it will be up on the screen in just a second, but I'm going to invite you to say it with me and to deal with it if it says a word that's not quite what you're used to, but it's okay. Here we are. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve human need, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other. From all that dwell below the skies, let songs of faith and hope arise. Let peace, goodwill on earth be sung through every land, by every tongue. Please be seated. There's a common phrase that's used in describing younger members of our culture. That is to say that a younger generation are spiritual but not religious. That makes sense. Lots of people in our culture were not raised in religion. And yet, the human spirit is rich. And so people in their lived experience begin to find ways that there's a little spirituality here and there. A colleague of mine, a younger colleague of mine, once described himself as religious but not spiritual. I loved that. I enjoyed that turn of phrase. Because while indeed I do believe all people are spiritual, it takes a religious bent for people to show up every Sunday morning. Religion has its roots in that little root lig. That word lig of religion is the same lig as in ligature. Religion is a way that we are bound to one another, bound to a tradition. Our hope in liberal religion is that the binding is not shackles, but instead the means by which we pull each other up, the way by which we hold each other in, the way by which we are grounded and tied voluntarily, we tie our own bows, into one community. Now, religion. When people talk about comparative religion, there are three areas of comparison and contrast that we often think about. The first has to do with the sets of stories and sacred scriptures that explain that religion's point of view. Cosmology answers the question, what's the meaning of the universe? Anthropology tells us what it means to be a human in the midst of that cosmos. Theology asks questions about the ultimate source of things, and when monotheism develops, there's a problem, because once monotheism posits that there's a good God, we have to question where the heck evil came from. But that goes into theology, all right? Ecclesiology asks, what does it mean when we gather with one another? What's the spiritual and practical import of being a people together? And then soteriology, answers the question of when things are broken, how do we make repair? When things are lost, how do we find them? And then finally, eschatology wonders, what's going to be the end of all things? Where are we headed? Where are we going? So that's all the stuff that's around the stories and the sacred writings. The second area of comparative religion asks the question of ethics. If the ways of behaving described by that religion in their stories and scriptures were implemented, what kind of society might emerge? If it were implemented for the whole world, what would the world reveal about itself? This is the kind of study that can lead to action that we find when we sometimes are together, for example, stand out in front of the Nassau County House of Corrections with rabbis and imams, with leaders of a gurdwara and members of a friends meeting, with priests and elders and country pastors. There's something about our ethical vision that says we can work with one another. So comparative ethics is a part of religion, and it especially has to do with what will the world look like if our religious principles are followed, as we are confronting the powers and principalities of the world around us. Now, the third area of comparative religion is how is it that the religion is practiced? What are the rites and the rituals? How does it describe the everyday? And how does it describe the holy days? When we think about Unitarian Universalism, as it is customarily practiced, we emerge as a people who gather together, usually on a Sunday morning, usually about 10:30 or 11 o'clock, and usually for just 1 hour. That was a joke. And we share a few things, readings, some beautiful music, including singing that we do together. And we often will hear a word of encouragement from a community leader. This format, as I said earlier, comes to us from the left wing of the Protestant Reformation. And the resources that we've been drawing from so far in this service have been collected into hymnals. Well, you can hold one up. There's a contemporary hymnal, like the ones that you have in your pews and like the ones that my friends just held up. Hundreds of songbooks, devotional manuals, and hymnals were produced by Universalists and Unitarians in this country. And indeed, the first book published in British North America was the Bay Psalm book, published in Cambridge, Massachusetts in 1640 by our ancestors, the people who practiced the New England way of Congregationalism. As our Unitarian and Universalist ancestors in the 1920s, so 300 years about after the publication of the Bay Psalm book, began to see a way forward as one people, they chose to create a hymnal together. Before they were one, they chose to do a work together, and they published what we may remember as the Red Hymnal, Hymns of the Spirit. Hymns of the Spirit, published in 1935, was an effort to see how it was that Unitarians and Universalists in various parts of the country could have a common cause. That hymnal, you may remember, published about a dozen complete services of worship for people, so that we began to hear a little bit about how other people spoke about things and began to use other people's who were adapting to each other's way of being. It published a dozen complete services of worship, hundreds of hymns that came from each tradition, and many that were from beyond their tradition. Of course, there were hymns drawn from the 19th century British poetry, like For the Beauty of the Earth. But Hymns of the Spirit made a special effort to promote common cause in a book with something that they were experiencing in their lived experience in the world by lifting up the Reformed Judaism and the publication of an English version of the Yigdal prayer using the synagogue melody Leoni. So we're going to sing the Praise to the Living God right now, followed by For the Beauty of the Earth. You'll see the lyrics up on the screen, or if you want to follow the music, gray number 215. We'll do the first and the fourth verse. Sure, let's stand as we are able. A little do honor. Praise to the living God, all praise be the name, which was and is to be forever same. The one eternal God, ever and now appears, the first of No, we'll go right on. And we'll do For the Beauty of the Earth? Oh, all right. Please be seated.
Every month during worship, we share an opportunity toward living our Unitarian Universalist values in the world by acts of generosity to bring positive change. This Sunday, we are invited to support the AIDS Center of Queens County. Since 1986, ACQC has grown to become the largest provider of HIV/AIDS services on the borough of Queens, serving over 10,000 HIV-positive clients and 30,000 community residents in 5 sites throughout the borough. Your donations continue many years of Shelter Rock support for our neighbors living with HIV/AIDS and other chronic conditions. And there are plenty of ways to give. There's the QR code on your screen in order of service. There's PayPal, of course, and there's always just drop a check in the collection box in the main lobby, entering November offering in the memo line. Or, of course, simply make your donations in cash in the collection box. You may also go to the giving page on UUCSR.org to set up a one-time or a recurring payment.
I'm going to invite you to stand and dance a little. Remember, the choreography is you reach out to someone and you pull them into your heart. You touch your own heart and you reach out to them. You indicate that we're all in this together, and we see the divine in the other one. Here we go. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. These offerings are gratefully received by those who would be good stewards of justice, equity, and compassion in this house, in this county, and even unto the universe. One more time. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. Please be seated. Use of the red hymnal became a primary way by which we found ourselves to be one people. We shared the hymnal. We used it together in our parishes. We published versions of the red hymnal without the services so that they could be used in military and academic chaplaincy settings. Our youth movements sang those songs together and decided to merge before there was a denomination. The women's federations of both the Unitarians and the Universalists used that red hymnal, got into each other's hearts and minds, and merged before there was a merged denomination. Eventually, with a little bit of fear of what might be lost with consolidation, and with the necessary agreements that had to be made in the state legislatures of Massachusetts and New York, we declared ourselves to be one people in 1959, 60, 61. Finally, 61, and the Unitarian Universalist Association was born. The first thing that we did was to publish a new hymnal. A hymnal commission took a few years to publish hymns for the celebration of life, the Blue Hymnal. It was published in 1964. This hymnal sought in some ways to divorce itself from previous works by using a more open visual sense on the page, by using timeless but contemporary graphics and typefaces, and it even sought to capture in the hymnody the optimism of a faith that sought to share a deeply prophetic voice. We believed the world was going somewhere. One reflection of this is there are about a dozen social justice hymns published, written by John Haynes Holmes from the Community Church of New York. He's all over the place in the Blue Hymnal. We're going to sing one song, one hymn from the Blue Hymnal that continues to be in our gray hymnal today. Often we think of it as its refrain, Faith of the Free. Its tune is an old tune from the Bohemian Brothers Church songbook, Mit Freudenzeit, and its lyrics are by a respected humanist pastor with the best name, Vincent Sillyman. Let's rise as we are able in body and spirit. We'll sing the first and the third verse of Faith of the Larger Liberty, number 287. Faith of the larger liberty, source of the light expanding, Lord of the church that is to be, oh, bondage notwithstanding. Faith of the free, finally we live by witness that shall give our loyalty commanding. Pray for the people everywhere, whatever their oppression. All who make forward warfare, living their faith's confession. Faith of the free, for there I fight thy liberty, thy right shall be our last possession. Thank you. Please be seated. I'm going to ask you to actually take in your hands a copy of the gray hymnal and turn to the table of contents. When you find it, the first great heading is of hymns, and it's divided into sections, those of transcending mystery and wonder, those of the words and deeds of prophetic women and men, those of wisdom from the world's religions, and Jewish and Christian teachings, and humanist teachings, and finally, service music. Then, and I don't know why the word service readings isn't big like hymnals, but that's another story. Among the readings, you see this pattern recapitulated. Service readings at the beginning, then transcending mystery and wonder, words and deeds of prophetic women and men, wisdom from the world's religion, Jewish and Christian teachings, humanist teachings, and then more service music. These divisions are meant to help those leading worship to locate diverse resources that will support their aims in worship. The hymnal was published for you to take home. The hymnal was published to fill in this old tradition that, for example, children's religious education doesn't happen in RE. It's affirmed in RE, but actually happens in the home, in their relationship with their parents and their grandparents, and we begin to say, who are we in the world? How are we in the world? And so this hymnal was really written for you to take home, so that you would have words in the back that could help you when you needed a word before a meal, that you might have some words to inspire you from time to time, that you might have something to think about that says, this is who I am as a Unitarian Universalist. I'd love to encourage you to turn to the back of the hymnal to number 481, a prayer written by a poet from New Jersey who spent the bulk of her career working in the American Southwest, including working closely with Native American peoples. Her prayer is inspired by that work, and it concludes with the word kiva, a term used by the Pueblo people to describe their sacred meeting place. Stay seated, but shall we read this together? It is our quiet time. We do not speak because the voices are within us. Now, you all went rushing along there. Give yourself a little breath. Again, it is our quiet time. We do not walk because the earth is all within us. Let that sit. It is our quiet time. We do not dance because the music has lifted us to a place where the Spirit is. Take a breath. It is our quiet time. We rest with all of nature. We wake when the seven sisters wake. We greet them in the sky over the opening of the kiva. This is the week when we recognize those who have served in the military, the veterans among us. We honor them. I wonder if there are veterans among us who would be willing to rise so that we may acknowledge them. I invite all of us to come forward to the candle box. We nourish the sense of gratitude we hold for all who give of themselves for the common good. At the end of our candle lighting, we'll sing together, Spirit of Life. through once and we'll see. You can play it through once and then we'll see. Yeah. It's mine.
People are often unreasonable, illogical, and self-centered. Forgive them anyway. If you are kind, people may accuse you of selfish, ulterior motives. Be kind anyway. Be kind anyway. If you are successful, you will win some false friends and some true enemies. Succeed anyway. Succeed anyway. If you are honest and frank, people may cheat you. Be honest and frank anyway. What you spend years building, someone could destroy overnight. Build anyway. Build anyway. And if you find serenity and happiness, they may be jealous. Be happy anyway. The good you do today, people will often forget tomorrow. Do good anyway. Do good anyway. Give the world the best you have. It may never be enough. Give the world the best you've got. Anyway, final analysis, it is between you and God. Yeah, you and God. It was never between you and them. Anyway.
Thank you, Billy and Brian. That song was written by Susie and Maggie Roach in the coffee house in the basement of First Parish Unitarian in Cambridge, Massachusetts. It was a song performed by many musicians in the chapel at Ferry Beach UU Conference Center in the summer after their CD, Zero Church Street, was published. Now, the Gray hymnal, Singing the Living Tradition, was published in the wake of the adoption of two important resolutions by our Unitarian Universalist Association General Assembly. In 1977, we adopted a statement on women and religion that committed us to examine the ways that our faith practiced male supremacy. And indeed, the blue hymnal had become obsolete almost immediately after its publication because it was so misaligned with feminism, using language that many women felt was exclusionary and including very few pieces written by women. Out of that movement came the desire to rewrite our statement of principles and purposes. And so in 1983, 84, and 85, we studied and adopted the 7 principles that restated what we imagined this living tradition was about and began to reform our work and institutions. And so we decided we needed a new hymnal, thus what my teacher of hymnody used to call the silver and the gray. I don't know, the silver and the gray, what the hell? We've already seen some of the innovations of the Gray hymnal. We sang From You I Receive a moment ago, a song that was popularized by the Sufi-inspired and syncretistic movement, Dances of Universal Peace. We sang Spirit of Life, a prayer that Carolyn McDade wrote that was shared with the feminist choir of the Arlington Street Church and grew quickly to be a favorite throughout our association. The blue hymnal had been collected at a time when UU leaders were participating full throttle in the civil rights movement, but it wasn't until the Gray hymnal that we began to include songs like Woke Up This Morning with My Mind Stayed on Freedom, right? And gonna lay down my sword and shield down by the riverside, wonderful, and we shall overcome. Okay, these were included in the new hymnal. We had learned them on the street and maybe a cappella, but we put them into our hymnal and had piano transcriptions written for them. We began to publish other a cappella music and rounds. These included devotional songs, including some that were published in a lead sheet format within our hymnal with just some chord symbols, but no accompaniment, no piano accompaniment written. For us, we were breaking new ground. The Gray hymnal will probably be the last hardcover hymnal published by the Unitarian Universalist Association. We are now creating an online hymnal, which will soon be available not to individuals, but to congregations and other organizations on a subscription basis. Congregations will be invited to see this effort as a way by which we support one another, support our working musicians, and continue to see the way our hymnal creation is part of this story, this unfinished story of us being a diverse people together. We're going to share just a couple more hymns as we finish. One is the product of the poetry of one of my teachers, Brian Wren. Brian was a student of Eric Routley. at Mansfield College in Oxford. He worked through the British Reformed Church to eliminate male-dominated hymnody. He also wrote in a kind of detached lyrical style. You don't see grand poetry from Brian. You hear kind of a monument to a moment, little fragments that together are expected to touch you. Simple statements with imagery drawn from the earth and from everyday life. Our choir is going to sing a meditative song by the UU minister John Corrado. John served in a congregation outside of Detroit, including the few years that I was in Flint, Michigan, where we got to know each other. And then we'll hear a Hindu devotional hymn that was a favorite of Mohandas Gandhi, a hymn in which Gandhi felt there was a hope offered for a unified India where Hindu polytheism and Muslim monotheism might be tolerated in the same song and in the same ashram that he had created, where both Rama and Allah could be praised. Hymn number 317, We Are Not Our Own. Would you rise, please, and let's sing verses 1 and 4. Please be seated.
Pati Raghava Raja Ram Patita Pavana Sita Patita pavan sitaram, sitaram jai sitaram. Patita pavan sitaram, Raghupati Raghava Raja Ram. Patita pavan sitaram, Ishvara Allah tere naam, sabko sanmati de Bhagwan. Ishvara Allah tere naam, sabko sanmati de Bhagwan. Raghupati Raghava Raja Ram. Patita pavan sitaram, Raghupati Raghava Raja Ram. Patita pavan sitaram.
Thank you so much. Whew. So the Gray Hymnal began to present a number of simple songs that might be learned by rote and held by heart. Some of them you know, Dona nobis pacem, gathered here in the mystery of the hour, I know this rose will open among them. The Teal Hymnal, Singing the Journey, took this a little further, including a good number of songs that they expect would be learned by heart, possibly learned by rote, but songs that would be played with by the musicians and the congregations. One of which brings us back to these questions that I raised at the very beginning of my talk. Where do we come from? Where are we going? That's that question about cosmology and the question of eschatology and all the theological questions. And so I'm going to invite you to join me in singing Where Do We Come From? And we're going to, if we may, just play with that a little bit. Is that good? So I think I'm going to put all of the lyrics up there for all four parts. And do we have a key that you like? So I'm going to invite you all to stand. And there are extra points for moving your body and being very expressive with your face. I want you to be a child asking the question, hey, Ma, where do I come from? All right? Dad, where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Sing out. Where are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Now, good. That's the basis. And if at any moment you want to, just sing that. But some of us think that we're really cellos. So we're going to want to sing, where do we come from? Where are we going? Cellos, join me. Where do we come from? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where are we going? Extra points if you really get it going in your body. Some of us are little birds. We're kind of flying up there. Where do we come from? Some birds. Where do we come from? And I'm especially happy if you got a questioning face. Questioning face. That's what we got. So let's try that. We're just going to sing them all at the same time. I'm going to start with the first one. I'm going to go to the cello one. I'm going to go to the birds one. And maybe we'll get to the other one. I don't know. Someday. It works best if you're ready to have fun. Where, 2, 3. Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where are we going? Mr. mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery, mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery, mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery, mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a last one. Mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery, mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery. You did a great job. Our closing hymn today is by two important people in my life. Please be seated. And again, when you get up, there's always extra points for a little motion, but there you go. Reverend Kendall L.R. Gibbons recently retired as the senior minister of All Souls Unitarian Church in Kansas City, Missouri. Dr. Gibbons was not only an inspiration as president of the Unitarian Universalist Ministers Association back in the day, but was a national leader of the clergy caucus of the Gamaliel Network of Community Organizing, with whom I had worked most closely when I was in Baltimore. Kendall was commissioned to write new lyrics to accompany the tune Bridegroom by Peter Cutts. The late Peter Cutts was another student of Eric Routley, who has hymn tunes published in dozens of hymnals in the English-speaking world, about 50 of them, of the hundreds of hymns that he wrote. In our hymn, the tune Uppsala is set to Fred Kahn's Justice Anthem, "We utter our cry that peace may prevail." We'll sing that another time. Peter was a member of the Hymn Society of Great Britain and Ireland, and his lifelong project was cataloging the English language hymnals of the world, citing every instance where every hymn was published. And I remember the books and books and books of him writing out all the hymn tunes with those little small cap designations and saying where they were published, in what key. Peter was the music director of the chapel at Andover Newton Theological School, where I studied hymnody with him. I sang a concert of theater pieces that could be used in worship with him, and I sang in the Wednesday chapel choir and spent hours talking hymnody and sharing mango-flavored tea on Wednesday afternoons. Peter retired to England, where he had family and a national health system, and died last year at the age 86. Rest in power, friend. We're going to sing our closing hymn, Gray 125, from the Crush of Wealth and Power. Please rise in body and spirit and allow it to speak to you.
Oh
closing words of Laurel and Bellamy, found in the great hymnal. If here you have found freedom, take it with you into the world. If you have found comfort, go and share it with others. If you have dreamed dreams, help one another that they may come true. If you have known love, give some back to a bruised and hurting world. Go in peace. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Blessed be. Please be seated.